Hey, welcome to the Lovelda Show, Women of Power podcast. I'm your host, Lovelda Vincenzi, and this is the show where women share their personal power tools, which I define as the tools, techniques, or strategies which have enabled their success in life and business. I ask all of my guests to be real, raw, honest, authentic, and vulnerable, dare I say. So this is a girl chat show like no other, where we really do dive into what it is to be a powerful woman, the real tools behind a woman's success. Now, if you're on this channel, do hit that subscribe button right now and hit the bell to make sure that you're notified when new shows are added. You can also subscribe to find us on Instagram, which is at Lovelda Show. You'll find all links that have been shared in the show in the show notes. And right now we're gonna hop straight over whilst I do a audio introduction before we jump into the full show. So let's get started. Hey, chicas! Welcome to the Lovelda Show Women of Power podcast, the show where women share their personal power tools, the techniques, strategies, and ways of being which have enabled their business and life success. I'm your host, Lovelda Vincenzi, an international MC and host and female business coach on a mission to unleash authentic, powerful female voices onto the world. This is a girl chat show like no other. All of my guests get real, raw, and authentic while sharing pure gold. In today's episode, we'll be uncovering the power tools of Kristen O'Connell. Kristen is an American entrepreneur, freelance coach, and small business advocate with a passion for travel, adventure, and sport. Kristen has always taken a big sister approach to mentoring others and has developed a solid core of female leaders everywhere she works. Over the past decade, she's built successful businesses from scratch, developed over a dozen freelancers, receiving numerous awards and nominations, settled in a foreign country, lobbied the government for change to benefit all small businesses, and even raised 2 children, plus managed to keep their 4 fish and 16 houseplants alive. Kirsten's company, Superlative Recruitment, has worked with over 300 SMEs in over 100 cities across the UK, Europe, the US, and Canada. Superlative helps their clients source over 20,000 sales reps each year across various industries, including telecoms, entertainment, fundraising, membership services, property, hospitality, sports, and more. In this episode, we cover a magic formula for growing a business, building a business, and even saving a business without any advertising or external investment. Now listen, if you are ready to get paid more for sharing your expertise, use the link in the show notes to download your copy of my Speaker Marketing Blueprint. It's your guide for building the speaker marketing assets that match and reflect your expertise and increase your fee regardless of if you're brand new to speaking or if you're ready to level up your speaking career. Now, you will find all of my latest special offers in the show notes. At the time of recording this particular episode, I've just opened the doors to a half-day Fix Your LinkedIn Profile Done With You program, but you'll find all the details in the link in the show notes. Finally, the show notes also hold all of the links that have been shared by my guests, so do scroll down and check them out. And P.S., the only way to make sure that you get your regular fix of this show is to click that subscribe button to make sure that you get updates as soon as a new show is added, or subscribe to get notifications direct into your inbox. Now, this is more than enough for me right now. Let's get started with season 2. Hey, chicas, welcome back. It's season 2. I can't even tell you how freaking excited I am. Yes, we took a break. Season 1 was like maxed, but my guests in season 2, we're back. We're back. It's more powerful. It's more raw. It's more real. You know, I've been stepping it up with the guests. This is going to be fun, I'm telling you. So welcome back, folks. If you are new to the show, it's the first time that you listening to it, then right at the top of the show notes is a little button you can click on that will allow you to subscribe so that future episodes for the whole season get dropped in your inbox so you don't miss any, because I'm telling you, you can wish that you had if you don't do that right now. My guest today, you know, when you hear people, there's these women out there where you're kind of like, you know, you hear about women out there doing really powerful things, making a difference, or there's a lot of kind of talk around it. ain't no talk with this chick. When I tell you, when it comes to mothering, she is on point. When it comes to building a business, when she is on point. When it comes to helping women to elevate themselves, she is on point. She is not a talker. This woman is a doer, building her own businesses from scratch, supporting other freelancers in doing the same, lobbying government. I mean, hello. I could not miss this opportunity. Please welcome my guest today, Kristen O'Connell.
Thank you, Lovelda. That was such a wonderful introduction. I'm very pleased to be here. Very excited to have a reason to get all glammed up during our pandemic. And just really excited to chat with you and share some tidbits of advice with your viewers.
Girl, I know what you mean about being glammed up. I mean, I've been living the pajama life, which has been awesome. Almost forgot how to do my makeup for this show. It's been so great. So, having a reason to look human for a bit, at least waist up human, we don't need to go the whole hog yet.
Full disclosure, I am in leggings because I'm going bouldering this afternoon. Yeah.
Gotta be comfortable, peeps.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Behind the scenes realness. I've got jogging bottoms on. Let's just be real. Like the top up, I'm looking fly. But, underneath I've got on like really fluffy warm socks because I'm freezing and jogging bottoms. And this is not an unusual position for me to be in. So I did tell y'all this was going to be real and raw, and we are starting right. We are starting right there. Kirsten, there'll be a whole ton of people listening in to season one, episode 1 for season 2, and they're like, okay, Lovelda, you done get us all excited about who this Kristen is. Like, we're kind of like, but they may not have come across or heard of you before. Like, is there anything I missed that you could pepper in there that would help people to understand what it is that you do in your business, shall we say?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess sort of my biggest claim to fame and how I ended up a bit more in the personal development space is between 2008 and 2018, I built a business from scratch, completely bootstrapped it, and we built it from 50 pounds a week to over $1 million in sales in that time. And we did all of that without ever spending a penny on advertising. I do have a formula that if we have time, we can talk about later on that talks about how we built that business to working with over 300 consistent clients, never spending money on advertising. We also did it without any overheads. So we were a bit ahead of our time, and my entire team and I have worked remotely since we were incorporated. Full disclosure, right? I didn't have money to invest in office space.
So you didn't?
So I didn't, yeah. And then as I started building my team, my first team member was down in Kent. So I was like, well, we don't even live in the same area. Why have an office space? And we just organically grew that way. It helped me build a global team of talent rather than a local team of talent. And the other piece of the element, so no money on marketing and advertising, no overheads, and also no salaries, because my entire team are also self-employed, independent contractors, taking care of themselves and building their own lives and their own ventures.
Girl, you were like busting everything people think they need to have to do a business.
Yes.
It's kind of like you're kind of going, here's the business formula. Because when I work with women, it's like, oh, I don't have a website. I need to get my profile built and build a whole website. I'm like, girl, please, you don't need no website. I didn't start with one. Trust me, you need sales. That's what you need. You have a business when you have sales. So it's kind of, how do I say, enlightening and refreshing and almost like permission giving to hear, wait a minute, you done built yourself a proper bona fide business and you don't spend no money on no advertising or no people. Well, you did spend money on people, but not like salaried individuals in your team where it's like the same bill each month. They're kind of doing their own jobs. You didn't have no office. And you managed to, you were working with corporates too, right? Like larger organizations. We do work with a global sales organization. Yep. So we work with the VPs, the regional directors, and even down to, the brand new sales managers. So I'm going to ask the question that may be on some people's minds. does that space not affect how clients perceive you, right? Oh, so what's your office? You're like, it's my home. Like, does that not have an impact on your ability to navigate having those sales conversations with clients, or your credibility with those clients?
It hasn't, no. And actually, a big part of that, Lovelda, is how I built my business and who my target audience was when I first launched my advertising service. So back in 2008, I had failed as a sales manager myself. I moved over here to the UK in 2007, opened up my first business, and with 3 months, closed my first business. So it was like grand opening, grand closing. Yeah, and the main reason,
goodbye.
yeah, yes. Welcome to Cardiff and see you later. So the main reason, you know, obviously a true entrepreneur facing that kind of failure, you know, there's a lot of emotions. You're pretty devastated. You've worked really hard towards something. You failed. But I'm not the type of person to put my head in the sand and feel sorry for myself. I was literally, my options were figure this out or move back to the US, which wasn't on my agenda. So I took a gap position as an in-house recruiter, working for somebody that was a regional director within the sales organization. And within 6 months of us working together, me as his in-house recruiter, him doing the interviews and training the team, he promoted out 10 managers. And in his world, that qualified him to get promoted to vice president. And in the history of the organization, no one's ever gone from regional director to vice president so quickly.
Wow.
So I earned a bit of a reputation for myself as his recruiter. Definitely had a bit of imposter syndrome. You know, I kept it, oh, it's because I was a sales manager before. Oh, it's because I have sales skills. Oh, I should be better than other recruiters. But over time, I got over that and I realized, no, I actually have a really good talent for this. And then incidentally, because I had earned that reputation, other sales managers from different parts of the country were calling me and asking me for advice. And one of them just flat out said, look, if I pay you every week, will you write all my job adverts and place them online for me? And I said, sure, I'd love to do that, earn some side money while working as an in-house recruiter. You know, I'm enjoying this. And I went home that night, and I think this is a really important thing for anyone that's starting out or scaling their business to pay attention to and remember. The tipping point for where I am now and where I could be is I went home that night, and rather than sitting there and thinking, wow, I'm so excited, I have my first client, this is fantastic, I'm gonna earn an extra £50 a week. I went home and my brain started thinking, Jake's interested in this service. Jake's one sales manager, but there's about 50 other people like Jake in the UK that are probably struggling with the same issues that Jake is struggling with, that probably don't have the time, that probably aren't expert content writers. The very next day I walked in and I said to the VP, hey, you know, as we talked about yesterday, Jake's interested in this service. However, I think this person and this person and this person and this person and this person might also be. And Justin said, hey, that's an interesting idea. Let's present it to them. So he got all the 10 owners that he had promoted out while I was his internal recruiter. We rallied them on a call. I was super excited. I was ready to like go through my features and my benefits and everything and, you know, use a bit of Jones effect. Oh, Jake's interested in this. I didn't even get a chance to speak on the call. Justin spoke for about 10 or 15 seconds, was kind of like, I don't know if anyone's going to be interested. Jake's interested. We don't know if it's going to work or not, but if anyone's interested.
Wait to sell it.
I know, exactly. And I'm like waiting for my chance to speak that never comes. And so then he said, if anyone's interested, get in touch by the end of the day today and we'll see where we go from here. And I went from being completely gutted, like, what, you didn't, like, I could have explained it a little bit better, to then not worrying at all because I sat there and I watched his phone ring and ring and ring and ring and ring. And all 10 of those people called within an hour to say, sign me up, sign me up, sign me up. So I went from 1 client to 10 clients in under 24 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
No website, no like even pitch card, no actual PDF of a service.
You know how often I say to people, all of these things you think you need are just flipping distractions. Like you just need an idea and to actually talk about it. And to be honest, just that story alone demonstrates you don't even necessarily to begin with need to be able to know how to talk about it in a eloquent way. Just say it's something. It's a something.
Yep.
You know, you'll get better at it the more you have the conversations. And there's something else you said I really want to pick up on because I think people can skim over it. And that was, despite the results you were getting, you still had imposter syndrome. Because I think people think you get to a certain point and it disappears. It's like, oh, they mustn't have it. They've built a business. They're getting the clients. They've got success. They mustn't have those moments where they feel like, oh, am I good enough? Can I ask? Can I get involved? And so it's kind of really, really heartwarming in some ways to hear you say, no, yeah, I was getting some results. And even then, even though the evidence was out there for me, I was still struggling with, am I worthy of it? Am I good enough for it? Was this just an accident? Like those conversations were still going on. Because I get asked now, like, do you get nervous before you go on stage? And I'm like, yeah. Pretty much every time. And if I don't, I probably don't care. Like I'd be more nervous if I actually didn't care. So how have you managed that imposter side of things over time? Like, I guess the first question is, has it gone? Like now that, because that was way back, like years ago, we're talking over a decade. Like now, has it gone? Is it disappeared? Are you cured?
I wouldn't say I'm cured, but I would say I have a way to treat it now, right? So sort of like any ongoing illness or something, you know, it might never go away completely, but I found ways to manage it and to treat it. It crept up again a couple years ago. I was approached by an entrepreneur friend of mine, was saying, you should write a book, you should write a book, you should write a book. I did eventually write the book, but I had heaps of imposter syndrome about writing the book, you know, and well, but I was in the right place at the right time. I had this unique opportunity. Other people won't, you know, and at the time I didn't even know of the term imposter syndrome. So I didn't know that that's what it was. But yeah, absolutely. It doesn't show up as often. It doesn't have as devastating of an impact on my life maybe as it would, but I believe the best way to combat anything is to have awareness of it. You know, now I'm aware of what imposter syndrome is. I'm aware of the signs of it creeping up, and I have tools and I have a support system to help, you know, crush that. So yeah,
I want to go back to how, because we can't get into the second part of this interview when I missed that, because right at the beginning, you dangled a little carrot in front of us. Right? It's like juicy. I feel like the donkey sat there like, I want the carrot. And you mentioned that you grew your business with no advertising, no employees, and you have a secret sauce like formula that you use.
Yes.
Can you share like maybe just like a little bit? Can you give us like a little teaser?
Absolutely. And it's really relevant this year as well. This is something that I was talking with my team about a lot in 2020, because most of us as business owners did not have the middle of 2020 maybe that we were expecting. And the formula that helped us build our business is the same formula that saved our business this year when we were facing, you know, bankruptcy and administration. So I love a bit of alliteration, and my secret formula, not so secret, but my effective formula for growing and saving a business is R plus R plus R equals a monetary R. Not right.
Wait a minute. This sounds like one of your power tools.
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna leave that cliffhanger there, and we're gonna come back to this because this sounds like one of them juicy power tools.
All right, fantastic. Yeah.
See, folks, I got you back because we're gonna get to the bottom of this. Especially now, there's a lot of business owners who perhaps have got a little bit less disposable income within their businesses to be able to throw at things. The rug has been pulled from under their feet. Some people have dare I say it, pivoted. Yes, I used the word. I'm looking for an alternative, change direction. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Have found a way of refreshing their businesses. Others are still kind of struggling or waiting for things to kind of pick up a little bit. So I'm really excited that that's one of your power tools.
Cool.
Because if it could take a business from the brink of administration, girl, you could use it. Anybody could use it. If you are not driving and you are in a sensible place, have your pen and paper ready for that segment. Oh, awesome. Okay. So, see, I got so distracted now. It's right in my head. I'm like, oh yes, I can't wait. So this show is called the Women of Power Podcast, which means we're really exploring the essence of what makes a woman powerful. And given the sorts of things that you've done, like tangibly done within your life and the impact that you're having, I'm really curious to understand from you what you think is the essence of a woman's power.
I think the essence of a woman's power has a lot to do with the way our brains are wired differently than males. I'm very anti-sexism. I do work in a very male-oriented field, and for a long time I shied away from anything to do with being a successful woman in business because I was very, I guess, very stern or very strict that it doesn't matter that I'm a woman. I'm successful in business. But then I kind of turned the corner and I realized it might not be that important to me, but it is important to the women that look up to me. And part of what makes us so incredible as women is, again, that wiring and how we're just able to think differently than males. You know, and this has been proven in different studies over time. Women in restaurants can listen to multiple conversations, even if it's not at their same table, and have a clue what people were talking about. Men need to focus on one thing at a time. It's the reason why my son is playing video games and I'm talking to him and he's flat out ignoring me. He's not intentionally ignoring me.
He can't hear you.
His brain can't focus. Yeah, exactly. Well, meanwhile, my daughter can be roller skating and playing video games and having a conversation with me and, you know, listening to music. She's just, you know, so I think that's something as women we really need to embrace. And it's great to have male role models, but we can't copy their way of operating a lot because we are capable of so much more. I tell people all the time that becoming a mother was the best thing that's ever happened for my productivity. And that sounds a bit crazy because taking care of one, then two additional humans should take away from my productivity because I was already running a business and managing a household before I had children. Adding two more humans to manage to that, you would think would make things more chaotic, but it really forced me into discipline and organization and structure and routine. Things that as an Aquarius, I'm like, I don't like routine and structure, no. But yeah, and that's shown me, you know, things like, well, oh my God, I thought I was busy before. I thought I was maximizing my time before. No, we're capable than so much more than we give ourselves credit for. So I'd say that's women's power tool is embrace the way our brains are wired and the way we function and, you know, just tackle things as effectively as you can.
I love that because I think, I mean, I've become, especially this year, so much more aware of one of the things that dawned on me earlier on this year was when I read a lot of business books. I say read, I listen to them on Audible predominantly. And then if it's really, really good and I'm taking too many notes and I have to get a physical copy because I just want to like destroy it with highlighter pens and stuff. So I can remember it, it really sticks in. But I realized in terms of business strategies and productivity hacks and all of this sort of stuff, actually when I went through my Audible list, most of those were male authors. And there's nothing wrong with male authors, but they don't have a female biochemistry. They don't have hormones. They don't have to deal with the world in the same way. Everybody writes from the perspective of their life's experience, and their life experience will be affected by a number of different things: where they live, where they're from, their race, whether they're gay or straight, whether they're disabled, you know, all of these things will impact your view on life and therefore how you will perceive the world and others in it, right? And and you take account of things based on your own experience, right? So,
Yeah.
It's difficult unless you have a lot of friends, you have a mother who's grossly disabled or something like that. You just don't take into account whether or not this strategy that you're talking about is going to work for somebody who's running a business and at home with 2 kids. You can account for that because the way you run your business is your partner's home with the 2 kids and you run your business.
Yeah.
You don't have to account for strategies for balancing out with your kids, right?
Yeah.
So those sorts of sections just aren't in there in the same way from a male author as you would find it from a female author, just little things like that. So I think there's a lot to be said for honoring the fact that you're a woman, right?
Absolutely.
And kind of acknowledging it's nothing wrong with taking advice from men in the industry who've had a lot of success. Nothing wrong with that at all. But also understand their world is different.
Yeah.
Okay. They can't understand everything we're going through. That you can't expect them to. And so mixing that in with women's perspective is really important, and understanding and appreciating it's not the same. We just don't do things the same. Our brains don't operate in the same way.
Totally.
We just have a different genetic makeup, and we kind of need to honor that. So I love that you've brought that up.
Well, and I have 2 incredible parents, but I go to them for different things. I go to my dad for certain things that I need advice on or help with. And I go to my mom for other things that I need advice on and help with. I go to my male business coaches for certain things that I feel they can help me with. And I go to my female business coaches for things that they can relate to me a little bit more on. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I love it, because I think sometimes we can forget and just kind of go, okay, let's get on with it. But just remembering we're women. We're different. And that's good. It's
and it's good. It's a good thing.
Fight it. We don't need to fight it. It's good. It's powerful. So I'm going to take a pin out of your strategy as we move on to your 3 power tools. So if you're new to the show, I ask all my guests the same question. It's a little bit mean, but they have a little bit of prep time. So it's not that mean. And the question is very much based upon, look, if we were to sit down and take everything you've ever done in life and business and that's been successful and boil it down to like 3 things and say, these have been the things that are absolutely pivotal to my success in life and business. And they can be tools, strategies, ways of being, for example, whatever resonates to you. And the purpose for asking this question is, as women, we have a tendency to look at other powerful people and think, well, they did it, but I don't know that I can. So I decided I was going to ask some people for you so that I can figure out what they did that you can do. And we're going to start right up the top with the one you kind of teased us with at the beginning. And then I started teasing us with again, because everybody's now waiting for it. This is like
the
a
wait
cliffhanger
is
show.
over. Yes.
The wait is over, ladies. We're here.
All right. Get those pens and notebooks ready. Here is the formula that helped grow the business and save the business. So if you remember earlier, we said it was R plus R plus R equals a monetary R. So $, $, euro sign, wherever
basically,
you are.
It equals ka-ching.
Some money.
Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Yes. And so the first R, they're in no particular order. I mean, they're in like alphabetical order, but not order of importance. So we're going to start with our relationships. So I told the story earlier of how I went from 1 client to 10 clients overnight. And that was with something that wasn't even my original idea in the first place. Well, the reason those 10 people signed up to my service is because of the relationships that we had already pre-established. If these were 10 strangers on the call, I don't think it would have gone down so well. But I had spent the last 6 months building and nurturing relationships with these people. I was the office administrator as well as the recruiter. Anytime they needed something, I was there to help them out. And I was doing this just out of the goodness of my heart, of being a good person. I wasn't sitting there thinking, 6 months from now, there'll be a client of mine, I was just, that's how I am and who I am. And so that's why the phone rang. It didn't even take them the end of the day. I mean, Justin's phone was going nonstop because there was no question in their mind that they could trust me. So trust is a huge part of why people will do business with you. And in the 6 months prior to me launching my service, not one of these clients was ever given a reason to not trust me. So relationships were and are still the heart of our business and the key to our success. We combine that with the next R, which is your reputation. So I told in this same story how partnership with myself and Justin led to him getting promoted from regional director to vice president in pretty much record time within the industry. So of course that earned him a lot of recognition, and that earned me some recognition and helped to build my reputation. But folks, I wouldn't still be in business today riding that same reputation that I established back in 2008. The challenge with your reputation is that it takes a long time to build the right reputation. You have to do the right thing, not the easy thing, over and over and over again to build the right reputation. You have to be visible, you have to be present, you have to be on even when you don't want to be on. And then your reputation can be destroyed in a minute. I've seen this happen so many times in our industry. People go out and they have a little bit too much to drink, they don't make the right decisions, and then suddenly they have a very different reputation in the morning than what they had in the evening. And I'm sorry, but this happens to women a million times more than it happens to the men. So protect your reputation at all costs. It is I
always think it's easier to do if you're more authentic. It's totally. Like your reputation is so much easier to destroy when there's an inauthenticity to it, because who you are, one place, you're trying to contain an image or continue to protect an image of yourself that isn't true. And so the minute you let your guard down to actually be who you are, then that's when it's like, oh, okay, then there's a disconnect. Now, there goes your reputation.
And what if you're then with two people that know a different side of you, and then no good. It's like liars, it's stressful to be a liar because you have to remember your lies. But when you don't lie, there's nothing to remember. It's
you always tell the truth, then it's easy to remember what you said.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if you're always yourself, it's kind of easy to remember who you need to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you show up, your action makes sense. It's like, of course they would have said something like that because they always say something crazy. Whereas if you're always that person who's quite filtered, but you're naturally, when you're with your friends and you're relaxed, you're a little bit more loose-lipped. Well, you're now going to create a scenario with yourself where if you manage to get yourself in a bit more of a relaxed state, you're probably going to say something that people aren't expecting of you because that's not the you they know.
Right.
Whereas if that was the you they always knew, I mean, Gary Vee swears all the time. You kind of expect it from him. You expect he's going to say something ridiculous and outrageous.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Because you expect it, when he does it, it's not a thing. You're kind of like, he went off and swore again. It's like not a thing.
And it helps you attract the people that you want to work with. It's like a romantic relationship. Something I am not an expert on, full disclosure. But if you go into a romantic relationship pretending to be someone you're not, it's only a matter of time before the other person either figures it out or you're signing yourself up for a lifetime of lying.
Pretense.
Yeah. And so same in business, like if I'm pretending to be someone else on social media or when I'm networking, I might land a great client, but then I'm going to have to continue to put on that facade over and over and over again. And that's tiring. I don't have time for that at my age.
I just wanted to bring it up because I think it really relates to the first two R's. Like it relates very deeply to relationships, and it relates very deeply to maintaining a reputation, because what underpins, in my mind anyway, what underpins your ability to do both of those things is your ability to be courageously authentic. And I do say courageous because for some people, it takes a moment to kind of go, I don't feel like putting on my makeup today, so I just ain't gonna. I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna dress up fully today, and I don't want to show up wearing that thing, and I don't want to do social media every single day because that's just not who I am, and I don't want to do videos. And to kind of authentically sit in that space can be a journey for some people. So we're on two of the three R's.
As important as those two R's are, you're going to have people that are right brain thinkers. You know, they're more the creative, the ones that are moved by emotions. They make their decisions more like based on their feelings. But you're also going to have an audience and some clients that are more the left brain side. You know, the logical thinkers, they want facts, they want figures, they want statistics. This is literally my two kids to a T. I've got a right brain daughter and a left brain son. So I'm like a case study happens in my house every day. But your reputation and your relationships will only get you so far if you don't have results. So you need results to back up your talk. You know, Lovelda, when she was kindly introducing me, was saying how there's a lot of talkers out there. The world needs more doers. And that's absolutely true. You can talk and talk and talk about all the things that you're going to do for your clients, but you got to be able to prove the results. A lot of folks are very, very surprised to hear that we don't have long-term contracts with any of our clients. They all have the freedom to order products and services from us on a month-to-month basis with no long-term commitments. But we run one of the most stable client portfolios I've ever seen. We have clients ordering from us every month for an average of 3.5 years, and that's with no obligation to commit beyond that month. And that's down to the results that we produce. We have a little cheeky internal term for some of our clients that leave us and go to work with our competitors. So I'll share this with your listeners here, although it might get me in a little bit of trouble. I might have to sit on the naughty step later. But we, our internal phrase for clients who leave us and go to work with our competitors, we call them boomerangs because they always come back. Exactly. So, oh, so-and-so boomeranged. All right, well, we'll see them in a couple weeks. Yeah.
Let's just wait. Back. They're back. And I think it's really important. It's interesting because I think we know the results count. What that means though is you've got to track them. Like you've got to ask for the recommendations. You've got to ask for the testimonials. You've got to check back in with your clients, see where they are, because otherwise, especially in the coaching and consulting space, like sometimes the results might come 3 to 6 months later. It's like you implement something, somebody internalizes it, and that's like a seed being planted, but the real kind of results are a little bit further along sometimes.
Absolutely.
But you don't get to see that unless you go back and ask, and you make it your responsibility to check what results are you getting for your clients. But if you're kind of doing this transactional thing, it's quite difficult to know whether or not what you did works. Sometimes it's really obvious, like if you're doing Facebook ads, you took their money, you did X, Y, and Z with it, they got results, they didn't get results. Sometimes it's that straightforward. Yep. Sometimes if you're doing mindset work, maybe it might take a little bit longer. Maybe it's not quite so straightforward exactly what the tangible results are, but it's not your client's job to figure it out. It's your job to collate that information so that you have it to hand, because the number of times when people just do not have the social proof for the results that they get, not that they don't get results, y'all just didn't track it.
Yeah, or don't know how to articulate it. That was a big challenge for us. We work in recruitment, so we have all kinds of stats and numbers, but who cares how many job applications they received online? What they care about is how many new starts they had and how many sales that new start did. So absolutely, we can see certain stats on our end, but that's not what's relevant to a new client. What's relevant is, well, how many sales did that new person do? So yeah, it took us a lot of...
And you don't get to know that unless you've got the relationship to go back and say, so how are they performing? What were the results they actually got? And that's where you get the really rich stats that are meaningful to your clients, that close the sale a lot faster when you're able to link those two things back. But like you said, it's not necessarily cut and clean. Like it takes a lot of work.
Absolutely. And now we have the 3 R's, right? R plus R plus R equals, and then the monetary R is referrals. So the reason we've been able to build our business without spending any money on marketing and advertising is because our relationships plus our reputation plus our results have equaled referrals. So we have never prospected for a client. They've always come to us as a recommendation from one of our existing clients. We won an award a few years ago with the Federation of Small Businesses, and they then asked us if we could help hire salespeople for them. So it's always through one or all of those R's that we're earning our clients. And actually, my business partner and I are talking now. We got a business bounce back loan, and for the first time ever, we're thinking of investing in advertising and marketing. And I was joking with her the other day because I shared something on a WhatsApp group that has a lot of our clients on there. Some of them are ours, some of them are just, affiliates. And I just shared a document that was actually from 2017 about writing effective ad content, shared it on this group, and immediately I get a message from one of our existing clients saying, I have a new client for you. Nikesh Patel wants to work with you. And as I'm communicating with Jason, I'm getting another message from Nikesh saying, when can you talk? And I'm joking with my business partner, like, this is why we suck at advertising, because we never actually have to do it, And then I'm texting my US ad placement team, and, my team member Steph's like, oh, is that so-and-so? And I was like, no. And she's like, oh, well, then we have 2 new clients, and it sounds like, a dream come true. And I joke and I say, oh, the universe is raining opportunities on us. And yes, that is the case, but it comes down to our relentless pursuit of those 3 R's. We're always building those relationships. Not enough to build a relationship, you have to nurture it. Not enough to establish your reputation in the beginning, you have to keep on top of it. Not enough to produce results yesterday, yesteryear. You've got to stay on top of those results, and you'll find yourself getting referrals. Our clients can't recommend us enough because they don't know what they would do without us. So that's my magic formula. It can work for anybody in any business, in any industry.
Guests, you're welcome. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all are very, very welcome. And I think there's a lot to be said in there as well about, it's all well and good sitting down, us listening to you now and going, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. She's built such an amazing, incredible business. She's got the dream life. But I do want to remind our listeners that this is also the formula that brought the business from the brink of bankruptcy this year, 2020, in the middle of a pandemic. Who do you think wanted to hire salespeople in the middle of a freaking pandemic? So, let's not overly gloss things all the time. The formula works, but you have to work the formula.
Yes,
right? You
exactly.
can't just sit back and go,
exactly.
This is going to solve my problems in all times. People are not immune to everything else going on in the world. We just handle it differently. So it's just lovely to hear of a different approach, and that core formula in your business has been the thing that's allowed you to build it, grow it, maintain it, save it, and to have people who are there to kind of support your business long term. It's just, that is gold. Absolute cha-ching gold. And we are only on power tool number 1.
I know.
We got 2 more to go. So what's your second one?
So the second one I can't take credit for, but I had the opportunity a few years back to meet Randy Zuckerberg, the elder sister and original Facebook marketing guru, Randy Zuckerberg. She's since, left Facebook. She's actually the inventor of Facebook Live, for anyone who uses Facebook Live to grow the business. Yeah. So I had the opportunity to hang out with her on more than one occasion. And by hang out, I mean, learn from her, interview her, and sing a bit of 80s karaoke with her on stage.
Sounds perfect.
And of all the things I learned from her and of all the ways that we bonded, the number one thing that she taught me that changed her life and my life is a theory called Pick 3. And her motto behind Pick 3 is, you can have it all, just not every day. So the theory of Pick 3 is identify the 5 most important things in your life. For her, at least at the time, pre-pandemic, it was, her family, her friends, work, sleep, and fitness. Mm-hmm. Every day, she looks at those 5 things and picks 3 that she wants to focus on for that day. Sometimes it's family, sleep. Sometimes
you can double up on them.
Yeah. All right, sometimes it's friends, family, work, and she doesn't worry about fitness and sleep as much. And that was so life-changing for me because I feel so often, especially as a, a working mom, we're always striving for that work-life balance, working from home. It's almost impossible to have work-life balance. And this theory tells us that there's no such thing as work-life balance. Embrace the imbalance. Identify the 5 most important things in your life. People don't have to pick her same 5, but every day allow yourself to focus on 3 and let the other 2 fall off guilt-free. So I co-parent with my kid's father. He's collecting them from school today, and we'll have them all day tomorrow. So I'm doing a bit of work, I'm doing a bit of fitness, and then I'm going to meet up with a friend. And I probably won't get much sleep tonight, and my family's taken care of. But come Sunday, the kids will be back. Selena's got gymnastics, so it'll be family, it changes every day. And to me, that's just brilliant because I still get the 5 most important things in my life every week, just not every day.
I mean, that's just wonderful to kind of go, you can have it all, but what time period is all of it in? Do you know what I mean? Like if you kind of go within a week, I've covered all of these every single week and all of them have been seen to, great. The problem is when you've got a long period of work being the only thing you focus on without family or friends, and those relationships kind of fall apart. You just can't go long periods of time expecting people to wait around until you can, until they can kind of creep up your level of priority. They're just kind of like, you know what, I got better things to do with my time, I'll wait for you. Yeah. So I love that as a principle in terms of just having permission to say it's not an exercise day and it's not a family day today. Today's about work. Yeah. And there's a lot of things to get done, and that's what I'm going to do. But in 2 days' time, it's all about family and friends and sleep. So you can kind of mix it up like that. So that's really cool. So
and the key is guilt-free. Guilt-free. Letting them leave that mind guilt-free. So you're not spending time with your family thinking about work. Been there, done that.
Y'all know who you are, who are going to kind of pick
now
3.
Definitely take the phone, put it down. Yeah.
That's for those of y'all who are going to pick 3 and worry about the other 2. That's
exactly. Yeah.
Pick 3 and let the other 2 go. They have their time. You'll come back to them at some point. It'll be fine. And then what's your 3rd power tool?
Okay, so this now we're talking more on a yearly time frame. This is something that I've been doing for 15 years now.
Wow.
And for this episode, we're calling it 40 at 40, but it started with 25 at 25. And this is like my little life happiness, keeping it all together formula. And basically the concept is, so my birthday happens to be February 1st. So I never really looked at January 1st as my New Year's. It was kind of like, all right, y'all have your New Year's, but my real New Year's, I've still got a month. My real New Year's is coming up, And so I decided at 25, looking back, I'm like, oh, look how enlightened I was at 25. I came up with this concept that instead of the typical New Year's resolutions, which are always about something like negative or something we want to change about ourselves, something we don't like, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to, stop this bad habit, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And then by January 21st, 3 weeks in, most people have given up on these New Year's resolutions because they're trying to force this change in their life. And it's all about something they don't like about themselves, right? So my 25 at 25 is all about picking, so it starts with your age, right? So I was 25 at the time. So I picked 25 things I wanted to do within the next 365 days that were part of my bucket list, my life goals, self-care. I wish I had my little folder with you because I still have some of these little printouts and you can see where I've highlighted them or changed them. And, back then there were things like save $1,000. And I've been obsessed with Hard Rock cafes ever since I first came to London as a student. I've now been to 40 before turning 40. So that was a big accomplishment. But every year I would have, visit 3 Hard Rock cafes, get 3 massages, get 2 hair treatments, get 5 manicures, and 25 things. And then now it's 40 things. Again, full disclosure, I can't say I'm exactly on track this year for the 40 things I thought I might accomplish. Haven't been to any new cities or countries or continents.
You've got until the 31st of January.
I've got time.
You've got time.
I've got time. Exactly. That's the thing. And so this is something that I've shared with friends and other business owners and entrepreneurs over the year. And, I've never actually done 100% of them, but I've done way more things in my life that are important to me and that are on my bucket list than I ever would have done in the last 15 years without these lists. Anytime I get itchy on the weekend or, what should I do today? I pull out that list. Oh my gosh. Or I look at it almost every month. Hey, how many times have I actually treated myself to a manicure? Oh, we're 6 months into the year and not once. I better get, and so it gives me. I guess
that's what I'm doing this weekend.
Yeah. And I'm totally one that loves a good highlight tick box. So I think I get both. I get to tick it off and highlight it, maybe even circle it,
Oh, something like that. I love that. I actually have a similar sort of principle, but not quite so structured as you. And mine kind of unfolded accidentally. I almost didn't do it this year. So it started by accident one year for my birthday, because my birthday happened to be, I can't even remember what it was. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do for my birthday. And at the time, my friendship groups were so different, but I thought, sod it, I know what I'm going to do. Rather than arrange a party and try and get everybody to come to one thing on one day, I'm just going to basically send people an agenda of things I'm going to be doing, and you show up when you like.
Yes. Yep. Brilliant.
So it started as a one-day thing, with a bucket list of things I hadn't done before. I just thought, well, I haven't been to Hyde Park before, so I'll put that on the list.
Nice. Yep.
I hadn't ridden a Boris bike, which are basically these hire bikes you could have here. So I put that on the list. So I had this list of things that I wanted to get done that day. And I just messaged it out to people and said, come when you like, or just message me when you're free and I'll tell you where we are. I hadn't been to a gay club, so that went on my list because I just thought it'd be fun.
Nice. Yeah.
I'd speak to my sister to figure out which one to go to because she loves the gay club. So I was like, I don't know where I'm going. And so that went from a day to a week the next year. And then somebody said to me, oh, you only do a week? I have a birthday month. And I was like, what?
When you're born on the first of the month, you claim the whole month,
So what? So the whole month of August, my birthday's the 3rd of August. The whole month of August is birthday month.
Love it.
And so what I would do in August is I would find a whole bunch of things on my bucket list, things I wanted to do, and I would just cram them all in and invite people to whatever they wanted to do within that period. It was
I love it.
I've never been to, and so that month would and literally anything good that happens in August, it's just counted as a birthday month celebration, even if it's somebody else's birthday. I just claim it.
Yeah, I get the shortest month, February, and a winter month. So I'm so jealous of August. Yeah. My half birthday
the whole year.
Well, my half birthday is August 1st, so I will come on this year's collaboration with you, and
yeah, I'll put you down for 2021
put me on the
celebrations.
List. Yeah, put me on the list.
I mean, it's going to have to be big. There wasn't much that happened this year, to be fair. It was a bit, my husband took over and did birthday month for a week because I was a little bit sorry for myself. I'm not going to lie. Mamma mia, we have covered a lot. Oh, wow. Yes. Wow. I mean, talk about starting season 1 freaking powerfully with a whole ton of stuff. There are going to be people who've listened to this point and they're just like, wow, this woman, the things she does, the expertise that she has. I know that you came with a gift that people can go check out and find out about. What is this special thing that we can go in check out? Because I read about it. It sounds sexy.
Yes. Well, so I mentioned earlier when we were talking about imposter syndrome, how a friend of mine convinced me to write a book. So last year, around this time, actually, I think it was October 25th, I released a book. And so it details a lot of the stuff we talked about today, you know, how I started. It talks about that phone call, the conference call that started everything off. But it also gives a lot of step-by-step things, how to decide if your idea holds water, you know, talks a lot about the challenges, the personal stories and anecdotes that I went through to get to where we are now. So the book is on Amazon. At the start of the pandemic, I reduced the cost down as low as I can. I can't, for a paperback, bring it down to zero because Amazon pays to like print the books and actually ship them. But I think it's like £3 or something, which is about $5 on Amazon. And then the Kindle version is even cheaper than that. But if anyone wants to read more about my journey and have, you know, some more step-by-step advice, no matter what stage in your business you're at, then, you know, happy to give the links down below for where they can find my book.
Basically, it's the cheapest way to learn more from Kristen. That's basically what it is. So all of the links are in the show notes. So we'll have a link to Amazon UK and Amazon US. So they're both in there, so you can go in and check them out. And like I said, I don't know how long, depends on when you listen to this. If you're listening now, you better just go take action, because then the price can go back up. It's down at the moment to support you through the pandemic. If you're thinking of starting a business, if your business has been kind of impacted in some way and you really want to kind of revive it, if you are just one of these people who want to learn a lot more, check it out. So that's the first thing. And if people want to connect with you personally, like they're kind of like, maybe they were listening and they thought, she finds salespeople? Wait a minute. We've been having that problem. I could do with getting in touch. What is the best way for somebody to connect with you?
I'd say Facebook, or I'm happy to share my email address below. Facebook, if they just sort of want to follow me a bit more in terms of like lifestyle and general advice. My email address, if they want to actually talk about potentially hiring salespeople and whatnot. Yeah.
So what we're going to do, we're going to put the links in the bottom. It may or may not have an email address. If it doesn't, then get on Facebook, connect in and ask, right? Because we don't want Kristen getting a whole bunch of emails about stuff that's actually got nothing to do with business. Okay. Let's just keep it respectful, folks. Let's keep it respectful. We have discussed so very, very much. Thank you so much for your rawness, your authenticness, your openness, just sharing your power tools, which are so practical for people to run with straight away, business and life-wise. But if you were to summarize our conversation today, like what one thing would you really, really love to leave our guests with?
I'd say use your voice. One thing that has helped me no matter what stage I was in, you know, whether it was in my early career days, working in banks and retail shops, whether it was my sales days, my management days, my recruitment days, I found that using my voice not only helps me obviously get what I want because I'm putting my opinions across, but it also helps me earn the level of respect that I need to have in order to grow my business to where it's supposed to be. And it can sometimes be intimidating as a younger woman sitting in a room full of men. Thankfully, my neighborhood as a child well prepared me for that. I was the only girl in my neighborhood and I was a year or two younger than everyone else. So I think that conditioned me to maybe use my voice a little bit louder than average. But you also mentioned in the introduction, Lovelda, that I do a lot of lobbying with the government. So I joined an incredible organization called the Federation of Small Businesses. They've provided a lot of startup business support and scaling business support. And because I used my voice during regional meetings with them, they then decided to give me the opportunity to use my voice at Downing Street and Portcullis House. And I've met with loads of local MPs. I've met with Boris himself and, you know, other important decision makers when it comes to policy for small businesses. And I never would have been given that opportunity to speak to the important decision makers if I hadn't been using my voice along the way in smaller, maybe less important situations. But be like Vice President-elect, use your voice when it's
when it's appropriate.
Yes.
I want to kind of start a hashtag that goes, I'm speaking.
Yes.
Hashtag
exactly.
I'm speaking. And I mean, it's such a beautiful place to end things, to just remind us that it's our responsibility to speak up. I'm launching a course in a couple of weeks, if it hasn't already gone out. All the links will be in the bottom here. And we spoke about it a little bit. It's linked very much to using your voice, but in particular in positioning yourself effectively online. So it's basically a 4-hour masterclass done with you implementation session with me to sort out your LinkedIn profile and actually put who you are front and center. Your client results, your testimonials, you know, SEO your LinkedIn profile so people can actually find you, because there ain't no point if you're on there and people can't find you. They search for you and you can't find you. You know, we need to get all that stuff sorted. If you're interested in that, again, scroll down to the bottom of the show notes and click on that button. All the links that Kristen shared, scroll down, get that book, get the book, get the book. That is a beautiful conclusion to episode 1, season 2. Could be missing out. And until next time, make sure that you use your voice for good. Hashtag I'm speaking.
Absolutely.
Until next time, gorgeouses. Ciao.